And here we are, at the final installment of the series. It's been a fun ride, thank you for coming along with me. But before we start, I am slowly approaching the 10k subscriber mark, and I have a fun idea to celebrate that involves a live stream and a game of sorts that is inspired by the chart from the L Word. So if you're not subscribed, do so now. Okay, let's take a final look at Xena and Gabrielle's gayest moments. Because Xena was such an eclectic show, ranging in tone from slapstick to heart-wrenching drama and delighted in being self-aware, we got what is perhaps one of the most tongue-in-cheek episodes with season 6, when the actor Michael Hurst, who played Iolaus on the sister show Hercules, came back as a snotty investigative journalist intent on exposing the most important question of all time.
Are you two lovers?
You want the truth?
That's right, Xena. We want the truth. The whole world wants the truth.
He also was trying to figure out why Xena wanted to steal the golden apples from the Norse god. It was to restore Aphrodite back to godhood, because without her, no one could love anyone. Of course, when she is restored, Xena and Gabrielle look at each other with literal hearts falling from the sky, so even though the camera goes dead just as we're about to find out...
It's like this. Technically.
What?
I think we can guess the answer to this one. So let's just safely assume that Xena and Gabrielle were lovers. So finding out in one of the last episodes of the series that Xena and Ares were officially married back in season 4 in an agreement that spanned for eternity might sound shocking, probably ridiculous.
Will you be my wife?
How's this for an answer?
And then have you wondering how on earth does that deserve to be on a list like this? But it is actually very gay of Xena. You see, this all happened after Xena lost her mind because Gabrielle had fallen into the lava pit in an effort to save Xena from being killed by the fates if she killed Hope, Gabrielle's evil demigod daughter. Anywho, in exchange, Ares offers to find Gabrielle, and Xena, being desperate, agrees as long as it's in front of the lava pit.
Kind of morbid, don't you think?
No, I think it's fitting. I should be as close as possible to the one person in the world I meant to spend the rest of my life with. As I give myself over to the one person in the world I would never choose.
Things escalate, and it turns out that Gabrielle had given her soul to Ares in exchange for saving her daughter Hope's life. So Xena then trades her soul for Gabrielle's by signing the marriage scroll, which she then steals from Ares and hides under the ocean so that he can never claim her. That is, until the scroll is discovered, Ares comes to claim his bride, but Xena manages to outfox him, and she gets to walk off into the sunset with her wife. So yes, she married Ares, but for the gayest reason to ever gay. Clearly, Xena has done some pretty crazy things in the name of saving Gabrielle, from marrying Ares, being willing to go blind, to jumping onto the doomed ship of Cecrops. But getting beaten to a pulp in order to save Gabrielle, the horror of it, is probably on the more extreme end. After being frozen for 25 years, Gabrielle returns to visit her family only to find Lilla, her sister, now a middle-aged woman, alone. Both parents and her husband dead after trying to rescue Sarah, Lilla's daughter, who was sold into Gurkhan's harem. Intent on revenge, Gabrielle infiltrates the harem along with Xena, and Gabs is about to pull a knife out to kill Gurkhan when Xena, aware of how ill-advised it was, tackles her to the ground and grabs the weapon. This earns her a prolonged amount of time of being bet up in a cell in one of the most graphic scenes, I would say, of the entire show. But Xena being willing to take a beating like that for Gabrielle's sake is not what makes this so gay. It's what keeps her going during that time. That's right, it's a vision of Gabrielle dancing sensually before her that does it. There is no straight explanation for this. I'm also struggling to find a straight explanation for the following moment. Xena's daughter Eve had recently been born, and Gabrielle finds herself leading a small, inexperienced Amazon tribe that needs her skills. She would love nothing more, it seems, than to settle down with Xena and raise Eve within the tribe, which Xena doesn't seem to care too much for. In fact, there seems to be a bit of trouble in paradise.
Queen Gabrielle, not tonight.
Who could she be saying that to, Then this whole scene. While we're talking about relations with men, the looks and glances suggest something quite different. Why Gabrielle almost chokes when Xena looks at her as she says this about being chaste forever.
Forever's a long time.
Is a sapphic mystery. And then I'm not sure why Xena is reacting like it's a big deal that Gabs likes things gentle and kind. That is, unless they're a couple and they have some things they probably need to talk about. In previous parts of the series, we've already explored how Xena is expressive about how much Gabrielle means to her, and we've seen how her grief manifests when Gabrielle dies. That is to say, she goes a bit doolally. But we haven't looked at what it looks like for Gabrielle. In season 1, when Xena is struck by a poison dart and eventually succumbs, the way Gabrielle goes so deeply quiet as she looks at Xena's unmoving body and then goes to the forest to beat out her anguish shows how devastating a loss it is to her. We see it again in the two-parter Destiny and the Quest in season 2 when Xena dies from internal bleeding. When she comes across Iolaus and he asks her what she would tell Xena if she could, she says,
I would have told her how empty my life was before she came. And that I love her.
This is the first time we touch on this theme of emptiness in Gabrielle, but it is by no means the last.
Xena, I know you can hear me. I just feel this emptiness that I've never known before, and it scares me. When I'm with you, this emptiness that I have felt my entire life is gone.
And I think there may be another time somewhere, I can't remember, but I can't think of a more potent way to communicate how vital Xena is to Gabrielle and how much of a hole is left in her heart without her, which only makes sense. They are soulmates for all eternity. We see the breadth of what that means in Fallen Angel. After dying on the cross in the Ides of March, we see the souls of Gabrielle and Xena arrive in heaven. As the angels are lifting them to heaven, Gabrielle is grabbed by a creature from hell and is halfway to becoming a demon. Xena won't have it. She maneuvers into becoming an archangel to go rescue her, but ultimately ends up becoming a fully fledged demon herself when she saves Callisto's soul. Even in her demonic state, there is one thing she is very clear about, however.
Gabrielle, the love that we have, it's stronger than heaven or hell. It transcends good or evil. It's an end in itself. Our souls are destined to be together.
And, well, if that doesn't encapsulate what Xena and Gabrielle are to each other, then I don't know what does, and I think it makes a fitting conclusion to this 4-part series. I feel like I hit on the major Xena and Gabrielle moments, but let me know which ones you think I should have included. If you've got any topics you'd like me to cover about the show Xena, feel free to pop that in the comments too. Until next time, lady lovers.